Alright, man, I just want to ask y'all a question before we start today's video. Do y'all think the CEO, aka the leader of men, the architect, the relationship builder, do you think those coaches are becoming extinct or not? And that's the question I need y'all to answer in the comment section. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video because hold on, let me turn it this way, son. Right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into today's video. So I saw this story on Twitter, right? And it talks about, is the CEO of the AKA leader of men type coaches are becoming extinct. I saw that on Twitter and I reacted to it, but it didn't save. So that's why I'm doing a retake of the video right now. So here I am. Yeah, it has some good points in that thread because I actually want to get into those because I find it quite interesting that a bunch of coaches that was the AKA the leader of men type, they got canned this year. Like the first example he named was Pete Carroll. Now Pete Carroll, it's not like Pete Carroll's like stuck in his ways or anything. Like he was like very different from the men like that won the Super Bowl to the men that he ended up. Now I wouldn't say get canned, but they just want a different voice in the locker room. Let's put it like that. And he was like changing and innovating his defensive schemes and everything, and he ultimately like got the boot. I don't know why is that, but folks probably they probably just uh they probably wanted an offensive coordinator as the head coach. Like it's really no telling because Seattle that came out of nowhere. Seattle was like in position to make the playoffs once again. And I'm guessing they saw like that wasn't good enough or something like that. So they decided to they decided on who they should hire next. Maybe a Mike McDonald, like another defensive coach, maybe, or some offensive coordinators like Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowey, who I'm probably about to get into right now in a couple minutes, or some type of or Brian Callahan from the Bengals, the offensive coordinator there. It's really no telling where the Seahawks direction is going to go, but they obviously moved off Pete Carroll because yeah, that's is what it is. So we go into like the next coaches that got canned, like for example, Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, um, Ron Rivera. Now those three coaches fits the archetype. Well, you can say fits the archetype of the leader of men, the CEO, the relationship builder type coaches, and they ultimately all three of them. Well, I say two out of three all fits that category. Now, Bill Belichick, yeah, he's more of a CEO type, but he's not gonna try to create a relationship with nobody because he try to keep them arms distant because eventually they're gonna have to get cut. But back to the point, Mike Vrabel. Let's start with him. So, Mike Vrabel. He had successful tenure with the Titans, but it was like a 1 2 year stretch where he was definitely one of the best coaches in the league, and the Titans was like looking like one of the up and coming powerhouses in the league, and that is I believe 2019 and 2020. And guess what? Those were the years Arthur Smith was in charge, and Arthur Smith, he was one of the best offensive minds the Titans had in a while, as you can tell. You could tell like for example the running schemes, the running play calling and stuff like that. They were way better under Arthur Smith. You saw Derrick Henry get 2K yards. Like he was in 2,000 yard categories in that season. Like he's still like pretty good now, but back then when he didn't have the foot injury and stuff like that, he was younger. Then the offensive blocking, run blocking was good. That was a special season. And then the play action behind it, like the Titans were one of the best offensive teams in the league. I believe we averaged like 30 points that year. We was one of the best red zone teams. We was good at getting first downs and everything. Like that team was like lightning in a bottle. But they ended up losing to the Ravens in the playoffs, and then Arthur Smith got the job with the Falcons. Then after that, it was Todd Downing. That was a disaster. Then we got Tim Kelly, who, in my opinion, was pretty good this year. He was actually pretty good this year. It's unfortunate that the offensive line play was horrible, and we didn't actually get to see, you know, like his play calling coming into fruition. Like the stuff that was like downfield and stuff. I saw DeAndre Hopkins a couple times open. There was Chris Moore got open a couple times. It was like these plays were like getting open. And once they did get blocked up pretty well, you saw Will Levis delivering the ball with the velocity he's shown this season, and you saw it. I believe Chris Moore averaged like 26 yards per catch or something like that. So obviously they had something cooking, but it just didn't come to fruition. Let's go with Bill Belichick now. Bill Belichick. I just find it weird because Bill Belichick, he has this Patriot way offensive scheme code, but the last 2 years though has been a disaster. I don't know what this all about. Ever since Josh McDaniels took that job with the Raiders, right? The offensive play call like took a steep regression, So Bill Belichick just randomly decides to hire Matt Patricia, who was a mainly defensive play caller, but they say he was an offensive play caller before he became a defensive play caller, and that was like bad. Mac Jones was trying to seek assistance from the Alabama coaching staff. Bill Belichick didn't like that, and it was just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And then in the following off season, and apparently some news broke that Bill Belichick actually wanted to keep Matt Patricia, which is wild to me. Why would you want to keep him as the offensive coordinator when your offense stunk? But neither here nor there. They ended up hiring Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien, that offensive play call really wasn't good either. So yeah, the Patriots was in I don't know if I'm not gonna say that word, but they was in like a horrible situation. Yeah, and that's why Bill Belichick, he ended up leaving the Patriots himself. And let's go to Ron Rivera. Now, Ron Rivera, I'm not going to go too hard on him because in his last year with the Commanders, he hired Eric Bieniemy, who's one of the best offensive minds in the league, right? But they had a deficiency at QB this season. And because Eric Bieniemy this season had Sam Howell like dropping 30 points against good teams and stuff like that. Like he actually showed a good amount of promise, but that he hit a like steep cliff. That was like his performances down the stretch of the season just wow, I just couldn't believe that type of collapse. He was throwing like 2-3 picks a game and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? So, yeah, so they ended up finding Ron Rivera because I guess they definitely looking for a fresh face and fresh, somebody in the locker room because it's not like Ron Rivera did have a little jolt in this offense. He did. They had it at one point, but Sam Howell just wasn't getting it done. So that's why they looking in the draft for a new offensive. Maybe probably like a Ben Johnson or something, like an offensive mind to try to get in that head coaching position. And they go look for QB of the future. Maybe it's Caleb Williams. Maybe it's Drake May. So here's another example I saw. As before we get into it, I just want to say this real quick. So, the Texans with DeMeco Ryans, right? He's the official head coach. His offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's up for a head coaching job. And I put this tweet out there, which I couldn't find. If I find it, I'm going to put it right on the screen. Is CJ Stroud going to perform at the levels he did this year, next year? Or is he going to take a look regression because, Bobby Slowick not, calling plays? Because usually offensive head coaches or offensive coordinators, they usually get, like, people within their staff, like an offensive line coach, a tight end coach, a QB coach, offensive line coach. They going to try to get coaches within that style and take them along to their next style. That's how it usually be. But yeah, that's why I put out the question like, is CJ Stroud gonna perform at the levels he did this year, next year? But we're gonna see because, for example, like Jalen Hurts was literally a top 2 MVP candidate last year. Was Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen, who was actually calling offensive plays that led to Jalen Hurts getting MVP consideration? You saw both sides of the ball take a steep decline. Brian Johnson, that was like from jump. Like those were like that was like horrible. Like that was like very underwhelming. These ugly wins they was getting, I knew that wasn't gonna last long. So that's why they ended up like folding the way they did in the Buccaneers game. Then the defensive side of the ball, they had young up and coming defensive coordinator like the son. What's his name? Son something. I forgot his name. Son DeSaney or something like that. The defense is so bad that they had to try to get Matt Patricia to take the reins of the defensive play calling, and it still didn't fix nothing. Because there's so much you can do when you change the defensive coordinator because the scheme and verbiage is going to still be the same. So, and they, like I just said, they folded against the Buccaneers. But yeah, the next example before I got into that little rant right there was Dan Campbell. How is Dan Campbell in in Detroit Lions gonna look next year? Because Ben Johnson, for example, he's gonna be up and coming for a coaching vacancy. Like last year, he could easily be a coach last year, but I guess he decided he saw something special in Detroit, and I guess Dan Campbell and the crew convinced him to try to run it back for at least one more year. It looked like it's paying off. And they got to face the Buccaneers because they're gonna see a lot of exotic coverages from them. But yeah, they in the second round of the playoffs. They won 11 games, and if they lose, this is still a successful season for the Detroit Lions. No matter how you try, how you try to phrase it, right? And to be honest with you, Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, Brian Callahan, all these guys that's trying to get a coaching job, they gonna get the coaching job this cycle because you see it. Like it's changing before our very eyes. Like guys like well, only one guy I can think of that's probably gonna get a head coaching job himself is McDonald, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. I forgot his first name. I think it's Mike McDonald, I believe. But yeah, that's really it. That's all I really gotta say. Because we definitely got to be careful with these CEO leader men types because boy, they the seasons in picking their replacement. Like for example, if they offensive coordinator get interest from other teams to be a head coach, how are they gonna replace these type coaches? That's why folks are seeing it's much easier to get offensive minded head coach from John than try go from there and try to create a defensive style because at the end of the day it's all about putting up points, right? Folks can like live with being like a middle of the road defensive team if you one of the best in the league and putting up points and one of the best in the league being a well-rounded offense. So that's all I got to say. My voice probably sorry right now because I had to record this in 2 takes. Just please like this video. That's all I gotta say. Please like this video, and hopefully y'all answer the question at the beginning of this video. So yeah, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe. This is your boy Trail, and I'm out.